On the Wado Radio Show.
Yes, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. It's morning music. It's ministry. And my brother Thi'sl, the vet, the legend, is on the line with us, man. Thiz, what's up, brother?
What's good with it, Wade, man? I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Chilling? You chilling? I'm chilling, man. And we chilling against all odds, man.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, man. So, listen, bro, I want to say this, man, and I wanted to say this publicly to you, bro. Like, I'm so happy that you got this book out of you, man, because I know this has been one of your dreams and goals for a while. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Writing a book is not easy. You know, my mother did one at one point in her life, man, and I saw all that she went through, and it's part of the reason why I ain't wrote no book yet.
Oh yeah.
But man, you know, just on a personal level, man, congratulations on that, brother.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah. It's crazy. It happened so. It seemed like once it started flowing, it happened. So it was so fluid.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually about to work on another book.
Dang.
But the crazy thing
you done got the bug, bro. You now we really finna put author next to your name, though.
Oh yeah. The crazy thing is I always had several ideas. So I've always had several ideas that I wrote down or I took notes on. So I've always had several ideas of books that I wanted to write.
Yeah.
I just didn't, go at it. And like even with the book that I just put out with the autobiography, I've already done a study guide for it. So the study guide is already finished, edited, everything. It was edited and finished before the book was because of the way it happened. Like one day I had the idea, I had already wrote it down. And while the book was being edited, I just set up one night and just knocked the study guide out because it's shorter because we want people to be able to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
So I knocked the study guide out in literally like 24 hours. And then I sent it to my editor and she sent it back and I added some stuff and we went back and forth. But it was done before the book was. So the study guide is finished and just waiting. I'm waiting on the book to get to circulating over the next month or so, a couple months. And then when the summer fully hits, when people are like in the middle of discipling and all of that stuff hardcore and going back into school and looking for curriculum and stuff to, use to get with dudes, that's when we're going to put that out after the book is circulating because people are going to get the book to be like, yo, well, how did you do, So the book will probably be in circulation by Legacy,
Wow.
or something like the study guide.
Yeah.
So yeah, man,
that's massive, bro. This book, man, this is basically like an autobiography, huh?
Yeah, man, it's an autobiography
of your life, the ups, the downs, the trials, the tribulations, the
downs, trials, the things that the things that I could never talk about in music because you only got 3-4 minutes in a song.
Yeah.
Up until this point, before I did the book, a lot of people didn't know, that I was born. Like, I was born on a plantation.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was born, like, my family didn't move off of the plantation that they lived on until, like, 87.
Wow.
I had family members, bro, living on the plantation until like 87, man.
Wow.
So I used to literally go. We moved off of it when I was 2, but I used to go back to the plantation every year to play. My great grandmother was still there till she died. My great grandmother died on the plantation in the 80s. You know what I mean? So I used to go back to the plantation in Mississippi and see my great grandmother every summer, my aunts, my cousins, like all of them still lived there till 87, So I used to go back there and play summertime. One of the stories that I told in the book and that I was telling out on my book tour was how when I was like probably like 8 years old. I always was like a young entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? So my cousin was from Chicago, and my cousin was out trying to not trying. My cousin was chopping cotton, and they were paying him. You know, they paid people in the summer to chop cotton. So my cousin was out chopping cotton, and they were paying him, and I was saw him making the money, so I wanted to make some money.
So you out there chopping cotton?
No, I went to my great grandmother. Was like, yo, I want to go chop cotton with Clint, and like, can I go out there? You know, and my great grandmother was like, you got to call your grandma because she's the person that sent you down here. You know, so I called my grandma B. And I heard my great grandmother talking to me. I heard my granny yelling through the phone, you know. And I get the phone, and my granny was like, "Man, she fussed at me so hard, bro."
She said, "There's no way you chopping cotton,
bro." Because my granny, she was like, her exact words. She said, "Let somebody tell me you touched some cotton." She said, "My kids pick cotton. I picked cotton. My mama," she said, "my grandchild would never touch no cotton." She said, "That's why I moved you from down there."
Man.
You know? So, like, I didn't understand it at first when I was young.
Yeah.
I just thought Granny was blocking my paper. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that. I'm going to be honest with you. It didn't really kick in for me because it was such natural life for us. Every year we just be like, yo, we going to Bell Chase. It's Mississippi. This is where my people live.
Mm.
And they never discussed it to us a certain way until we were way, way older. It didn't really kick into me to what was happening in my life when I was that young until I started working on Fallen King.
Wow.
And I was sitting back. I was like,
Thi'sl, that's a long time, bro.
But look, it kicked in my head fully. Where I'm like, yo, I was straight on the plantation, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So, that's when it really, really kicked in where I started to dwell on it more, you know? Like, yo, and we've had conversations, me and my family, just randomly about it over the years. But bro, it was I've literally myself, people didn't know that about me, myself, I've stepped foot, bro, into history. I've stepped foot on the plantation. Like, I've been in the cotton field. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking, it looked like Rosewood or something.
Mm.
Like, wood and tin houses, the slave owner, the master house, at the end, the big white house. Like, bro, the slave on the landowner, Mr. Billy, his house is still there, bro. Like, it's still there right now.
Man.
Like, if I pull down there now, his house is still there. Like, it still looks like that, like back in the day, you know? And the only other actual house that's there, that was there from that era was the house I was born in. The picture, the CD cover, the CD cover, my album cover, the house on the front of there, that picture, that's the house on the plantation. That's the actual house I was born in.
Man. Bro, you ain't supposed to be here doing this right now, dog.
That's what I'm saying, B. That's why it's like, that's why it's starting to all kick in to me like, yo, God has created me uniquely for a purpose, bro. And think about just even right now, you know, the situation in our country is in, our culture, with racial division. Yeah. Right now, we're seeing America, like, this is the first time in the history of America that we've really seen except for like the Panther era, where we've seen the anger and aggression of the effects of racial tension. Mm. Like, these are the great grandchildren of the last era of slaves. You know what I mean? Like, my great grandmother, bro, my grandfather drove a tractor for a slave owner his whole life.
Man.
That's what he did. You know what I'm saying? Until he moved to St. Louis. My grandmother picked cotton for a slave owner until she moved to St. Louis. My mother picked cotton. My uncles, all of them. This was their normal life. So right now, it's crazy the unique situation that God has crafted for me and put me into at the same time. I tell people all the time I should be a racist. The fact that I'm not a racist,
yeah,
it shows you the grace of God in it.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you. I was gonna say, bro, you are one of the few people that I know that you have very little racial bias in your approach to stuff. Like you're able to really look at things like even keeled.
It's because of poverty, though. It's because of God and poverty. When you're poor, bro, color don't matter.
Yeah.
Like I grew up my whole life struggling beside white dudes, struggling beside, Mexican people, struggling beside, like when you poor, like that stuff don't matter, man. Like we didn't care what color we were, we were poor.
Yeah.
We were just friends. So I also and again I attribute it to the grace of God, man. I seriously, I've never had an issue with white people. Like I've always knew that there were issues between our people and white people. I've always knew that there were white people that wouldn't like me just because I'm black, because of my family's history. My grandmother, where Emmett Till was killed at, I didn't learn about Emmett Till in school. I learned about Emmett Till first at home.
Yep.
Where Emmett Till was killed at was an hour away from where my grandmother and them from the plantation that we lived on. My grandmother actually knew and saw Emmett Till. You know what I'm saying? He was like a distant cousin. They saw him days before he died. You know what I'm saying? So, I've always known
Noah, quiet and
that there are white people that wouldn't like me, but I've always never had a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? I've always just knew like some people just be tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just like there are black people that wouldn't like me for no reason, But it's like it's never been a thing that's made me have a disdain for an entire group of people.
Sure. Man, that's it's powerful, man. It's really powerful, bro. Man, the book and the CD, bro. You kind of released them both as a pair. Is the CD like a soundtrack to the book? Like I remember, like I think a couple years ago, Trip did it when he did a joint. It was like every chapter there was like a corresponding song almost to it. It was real close. Is it that kind of vibe, or is this just like the overall story on the CD and on the book type of deal?
It's the overall story on both, but different type of things. So a couple of things when I got this song, some of the stuff I just pulled things from my life, and made a song about it. So there's a song called the intro called Hindsight. It kind of just glazes over the top and says like, man, like this what happened, Granddaddy was a sharecropper. He wasn't feeling pick cotton. He put us all in the car, hopped out of St. Louis, got it popping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the intro kind of glazed over the story in a way. But then it's a song called Go Get It. That's the second song that seems like it has nothing to do with nothing. It's just a hype song. But in all actuality, Go Get It came from a conversation I had with my cousin Tank before he died. He sat up and told me like, because I was rapping before I was out the street, but I never would go pursue rap because I was all about my cousins. I was all about my family, my hood. So I had people trying to throw bread into me doing a record way back when I was in the street.
Wow.
But I would never do it because I was like, if my cousins don't do it, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Or the people that come to me just like, I just want you and not them. And I'm like, well, you can't, it don't work like that. But before my cousin Tank died, he came to me and was like, look, man, they don't want this as bad as you do. We don't want it like you do. You're going to have to go get this on your own. You know what I'm saying? And so that song came from a combo of songs like Money on My Head. Like Money on My Head came from a one situation that I pulled out and made a song, actually two different things. So in Money on My Head, I talk about, you know, on one line I say 45 on my side every night I sleep. So money, that line is kind of what made the song come to life. And another situation, so like the 45 on my side every night that I sleep, there was a point in my life, bro, where I was 18 that I was into so much crazy stuff. I had this car, man, like I had a car that was so hot in the city that everybody knew I drove it. and like literally everybody knew it was my car, and I was either, you know, it was usually gunfire flying one way or another, you know what I'm saying, when this car was involved. So the police would pull me over or pull my cousin over and be like, where is he at? We know what he's doing. Da, da, da. And so it was one point where my life was so crazy and so hot that I used to literally sleep in my house at the front door.
Wow.
In like a big lazy boy chair with a big 4.5 automatic, you know, in the chair. I'm sleeping with my back up against the front door, you know, by the wall. Because I'm like, if somebody kick in here looking for me, like my family in here, they all upstairs, they in another room. We gonna get it popping right here. So that, I write about that in the book, but that incident made that song. And another incident where we had got into it with a certain group of people, and somebody was like, yo, them boys, they gonna put some money on your head, you know? So that, like, so it's songs that aren't related to chapters, but related to incidents. But I didn't do the songs in a traditional form of where it's like, yeah, in this day, this happened, you know. I just made songs, you know what I'm saying, about the content, but it ain't, the songs, most of them are in storytelling form. And then you got the, you know, so I got a song with me, Flame, and JR.
Yeah, I saw that, bro. Courtney Orlando. We all still doing it, though.
Orlando, my bad. Yeah. He Prince now. He changed his name. He's just a symbol. So, so on Urban Missionary, on Chronicles of an Ex-Hustler, I mentioned briefly, you know, well, not briefly because I made a verse about it, but I mentioned, like, Flame being in my neighborhood and sharing the gospel with me was one of the things that God used to change my life. So on this song, since I was revisiting this stuff in the book, because I couldn't tell the story of the book without talking about this, you know, so since I was revisiting this stuff, I was like, I don't want to do it the same way that I did Urban Missionary. And I wanted the book to kind of play out like a movie, like kind of cinematic. I mean, the CD to be kind of cinematic. So I said, man, why not get me and Flame on the song and actually live this out in a record?
Yeah.
So on the song, me and Flame go back and forth. Like, it's like Flame approached me, like, man, what's up? My name's Flame, you know, and we go back and forth like classic bars back to back.
Yeah.
Where Flame is evangelizing me, and I'm shooting questions at him from the mindset that I was in at that point. You know what I'm saying? And then we put JR Courtney on the hook because he was actually there when that happened too.
Wow.
So it was Flame and JR, you know, that I met that night. Like, most people just think it was Flame, but it was both of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that song probably was my personal, you know what I'm saying, favorite to do because of the history behind it. Like, when them dudes met me, bro, I was in the street, you know, full-blooded, like, gangster, like savage. but they saw opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, bro. Like
Yeah.
like I remember when I first started going to church, bro. Flame came and picked me up and took me to church with him, and we stopped at Walgreens. Like after church was over, and one of Flame's cousins or somebody saw him in Walgreens with me, and they pulled him to the side, and they was like, "Hey, yo, man, I know you go to church, you love Jesus and all that." They like, "Man, do you know who this dude is that you with?"
Mm.
And Flame was like, "Nah, man, why you say that? Like, I know him from church, blah, 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 like he cool people." So they was like, "Nah, man, like, don't be around that dude, man. Like, that ain't somebody you want to be around." You know what I'm saying? So like when they met me, bro, I was a street dude. That's all I knew my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when they met me, it was a couple weeks before one of the other things that I talked about on the record and in the book. It was a couple weeks before I was falsely accused of a murder. You know, so the book the book flows that way from birth to that, and the CD flows from that way. So the CD, it gives you the audible version of how I felt.
Yeah.
On certain moments, because like after the song with me, Flame, and Jr., it chronicles in the same way. After the song with me, Flame, and Jr., then it's this song called, Can You Hear Me? Where I rap like I'm in the jail cell. You know what I'm saying? Like I rap from that mindset, like, man, God, can you hear me? Like if this is the time when I need you to hear me, like it's right now. You know, so can you hear me? I'm rapping like I'm talking to God. You know, like, man, God, can you hear me? And then that goes into this record called Redemption. Because when I talked to God, God did hear me, and He set me free. So it go into redemption, and redemption, it plays on out.
Hey, so when the movie coming out though?
Man, my plan, bro, honestly, for real, my plan is, I met a few people over the past years that do film.
Yeah.
And my plan is, my plan is to do one or the other. Either I'm gonna go to a couple different people that I've met, give them the book, say, look, read this. What would it look like for us to do a film for them to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to go to a private investor and say, look, man, I'll put X amount, you put X amount, or you just put X amount, or after it's had time to circulate with my fans and supporters, we might do a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
But we definitely, Lord willing, the plan is to definitely do a film.
Hey, listen, man. Whoever play me, because I'm losing weight right now, Thiz. So whoever play me.
Yes.
Whoever play me, I don't want him to be chubby, dog. Cause by the time this come out, I'm losing this weight, bro.
Man, but see, we don't have to have a chubby way though, man. Because it's gonna be past this, bro. It's gonna be past this.
Oh man, that's good though, bro. But man, we was talking about this before we went on the air, man, and I think it's kind of an important thing about your artistry, your ministry, your whatever you call it. It's like you've always been operated in this super unique space in this Christian rap scene, right? Because it's like you're hood, and you know what I'm saying, like you embody that, but at the same time, like you're a solid dude. You're a solid Christian. You know what I'm saying? And not that there's not any cats from the hood in Christian rap, but I mean, listen, man, like you're super invested in your city. Like a lot of the people in the regular hip hop scene in your city know you, bro. And man, like I'm always just anxious to see, man, how anything that you put out is received by both communities, because you have that ability to kind of, be, basically supported by both, bro. because of the
Yeah.
relatability.
Hey, it's crazy. Like for me, I remember like when I dropped Chronicles of an Ex-Hustler. Like I was so worried when I first started doing Chronicles of an Ex-Hustler that it wouldn't be received by the church. And I also remember, when I first started doing Chronicles of an Ex-Hustler, that at that point I was in good with the in crowd, and I just instantly sat down. But I don't want to say the in crowd, but the in crowd and the dudes. The dudes were my dudes.
Yep.
So I remember sitting down and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a song with blah blah. I'm gonna put so and so on. I'm gonna put da da da." Like I had this all-star lineup of features I was about to get from Cats, right? And I just remember being convicted about it because I was thinking about it the wrong way, And I just prayed, and we made the record, and the record ended up not having none of those people on it. But I was so worried about how it would be received by the church because of the type of music it was. So, like, I can't front. Every time I do a record, I usually have that feeling more than anything because it's like your family rejecting. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I want to, because usually every record, I have this same group of Christian dudes that pop up every album, bro. The same group of dudes pop up and be like, oh, well, literally they say the same thing. Yeah, Thi'sl album, no gospel in it. Like I thought, like every time.
They be waiting for you. They be waiting for you.
So every time I would ask them the same question, did you listen to the whole CD? No, man, I'm listening to this song. I'm like, well, you need to go listen to the whole
Close
record.
the door.
So what I did now, I don't worry about them because I blocked them. Honestly, they're blocked. Like I don't have time for it.
Wise move.
It's too much negativity going on, right? So every time I'm usually worried about that, but I've come to learn more and more with every record that God has given me a group of people that are growing and that die hard support me. You know what I'm saying? So when I just put this record out, the Against All Odds dropped yesterday, which was March 22nd, man, I went on my Twitter and the response was crazy. Like from little white dudes that are like 12 to black dudes that are from the hood to girls to older white dudes, the older black, the response across the board from women to men has been like, yo, this is crazy. Because I've come to learn God has given me a group of people. Same thing in the street. Like God has given me a group of people that he's already set up to hear the message that he's given me. So that takes some of the worry off of it, But the thing I was telling you before we got on the phone, too, is I'm growing more and more and learning that God has uniquely created me to be a certain way. Like, inside of CHH and outside of CHH, there's been dudes that have been hood or grimy in CHH because I looked up to a lot of them. Corey, we got Corey Red.
Yeah, Corey Red.
We got Ty Bangs.
Yep.
Jafar Life.
Yep.
The early or Swift stuff. I remember when I first got saved, became a Christian, I used to walk through the hood, like listening to Swift record in headphones, reciting it word for word, because I had never heard nothing like it before. You know what I'm saying? I was blown away. Like, this dude is spitting over these hood beats, but he's talking Christian and positive stuff. So, like, there have been dudes that have been grimy and that have been hood, in front of me. But, like, most of the dudes that dwell in Christian rap now, that's not the case. Like, even for the dudes that, like, I'm still OG in the hood. I'm just not active.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still big homie. Like, when I come through the hood, like I'm still big homie. Like, there's still, like, most people don't grow up in that environment anyway. There's only certain cities that stuff even exists.
Right.
Places like Cali, Chicago, certain places in the South, Arkansas, Memphis. Like,
My city, Newark, New Jersey. We definitely got
New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? There's only certain places that type of environment exists where there's actually a real hood.
Yep.
Where there are a group of people that have grew up generations and generations together.
Yeah.
So like that's me. Like I got 100 dudes right now that I could call that'll do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? So that like there's a different. That's the type of stuff that's always kept me, for lack of better words, relevant in the hood sense of things. Because the only way that I disconnected from the hood was from living a sinful lifestyle that I was doing before I started. But the respect, the authority, all of the stuff that I had before I was a Christian is still there. You know what I mean? Like, so it only translates further in the music now because I'm a non-active, for lack of better words, gang member.
Yeah.
I'm just not active.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I retired from that life. But when you retire from the Army, you still part of the Army. You know what I'm saying? So dudes just know that I'm not active. My friends know, the people that used to be my enemies know, you know what I'm saying? But that's the stuff that keep me, relevant in that world.
Man, that's powerful, bro. And so you've, like, the thing is, you've always been able to kind of balance that because you got that space, but then, I mean, listen, bro, like, you've performed on some of the biggest Christian stages with the exact opposite kind of crowd, and people love you. You know what I mean? Like,
I did. Man, even when you think when you think about CHH as a whole, like people are afraid. Some people are afraid to say this. It's just a reality. I don't know why they are, but when you think about CHH as a whole, people jump down Mary Mary's neck.
When they said it's mostly white kids.
Right, on Rapzilla. They jumped down Mary Mary's neck when she said she made her song because she was trying to reach an urban black. Because Christian rap didn't do that. People like, oh man, no, that's not true. No, that is true. Bro, I was sitting up the other day, like literally just the other day, I was sitting up because I follow Tasha Cobbs on Instagram because me and her had a show together like last year or something.
Yeah.
So I follow Tasha Cobbs on Instagram. And I always watch her stuff. I see what she's doing. I love her music, So I'm watching Tasha.
Put a praise on it.
Oh man, I love Tasha Cobbs, man. Like she's serious, bro. So I'm watching her on Instagram, and this is like last week. I'm sitting there, and my brain says, "Bro, this is a whole nother world."
Yep.
Like, CHH is so disconnected from Black gospel world. It's a different world. And Black gospel, and for some people that's going to hear me call it Black gospel, before you think that's separating, you just got to know what it is. It's called Black gospel for a reason. There's a reason that there is a Stellar Awards and a Dove Award.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Stellar Awards was created because the Black gospel artists weren't getting recognition by the Dove Awards.
Right.
They still don't get recognition by the Dove Awards. So it was created.
Unless you Kirk Franklin.
Unless you Kirk or Tasha now. Tasha Cobbs and Mary Mary.
Yeah.
Or Mandisa. But when you hear Mandisa on the radio, you don't even know that she's Black. Not because there's a way that you sound Black or white that's negative or positive, but the style of her music. You wouldn't instantly.
But they don't play her on gospel stations either, though.
They don't play her on gospel stations. True, and it's the vice versa. So you're not going to hear the CCM artist on the Black gospel stations, which all of that is crazy. But it was created for a reason, right? So when you think about Black gospel music and culture, bro, I sat back the other day and I literally said, yo, I'm so disconnected from this culture of music, and everything is different, bro. Stylistic, the mannerism, the words, like there's a whole nother world inside of black gospel. And that's where most of the black Christian youth are, inside of that world. The ones that are going to church, like in droves, they're inside of that world because that's where their parents are. That's where their aunties, their grandmothers. Like, so when Mary said that, that's what she was referring to. And, you know, Mary gets play on mainstream radio. So she was referring to that as well. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about that, and you think about when you look at Christian hip hop is, no matter how we want to word it, how we want to think about it, Christian hip hop is a subgenre of CCM music. The upward route of mobility for any Christian hip hop artist that wants to grow bigger than what they are is through CCM. The radio stations are controlled by CCM stations. The station we have in St. Louis, Boost 1019. I love the way they support me. I love what they do when we have events. But they can't rock my records because their crowd is majority CCM, 95.9 in Orlando. Like, it's an offspring of a CCM station. So Christian hip-hop is a subgenre of CCM more than it is a subgenre of hip-hop. Like, and let's look at it like this. So even inside of Christian hip-hop, you have artists that are more black gospel versus CCM. Like the Truth, if you go to black gospel events, the Truth is the biggest thing they gonna know. They know Lecrae too, but Truth lives in that world. You know what I'm saying? But Truth doesn't live in the CCM world because he has different mannerisms, he has a different jargon, he has different things stylistically. So the majority, and that happened for several reasons. One, when we first started doing Christian hip hop, the generation now, not the people before us, but the generation now, you know, when Cross Movement was doing what they were doing, they were in the majority of black churches. They were doing Impact Conference. They were doing these conferences that were led by black pastors and congregations. And so there was a more of a lean a certain way. But when Reach came and when our era of things, quote unquote, started, when we all started doing stuff, it went like the white churches were the people that were bringing us out to shows. So they were the ones that their kids were hearing the music and seeing it, and they saying, "Yo, I want Thi'sl to come, and I want, Lecrae to come, and I want Jason and Flame." Like, so they were like, "Yo, we want them to come." You know what I'm saying? At this point, the black churches, this is the whole G. Craig era. So black churches like, "Oh my God, hip hop, you can't have no hip hop here. They release demons," you know, like, so it's like that was a no. But the white churches were like, "Yo, we're listening to the words. This is Christ-centered. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. My kids love hip hop already. Let's use this as a tool to reach culture." But in return, it grew an audience that was largely suburban. Like, do I have a problem with that? No. Because the gospel need to be in the suburbs as well as it need to be anywhere else. But we can't ignore the fact that the majority, predominant listening audience of CHH are white males. Period. Like, I love it. I don't have an issue with it. But we got to realize what it is. And I think for people like myself, I do things the way I do. Like, bro, it's hard for people like me to flourish in that, though, too. because the average youth pastor is not going to hear my music and bring me in. He ain't going to hear my music and be like, yo, we need to bring this dude here. But their kids are going to fight for it. Yo, this Thi'sl, we love him, bring him out. So that's why I do well. And the people that get it, they get it. So I think the only issue is I don't think we need to keep making, like, I don't think no one is making music from a separatist point of view. I don't think nobody's doing that. Not even me. When I make music, I don't make music like, yo, man, I need to make music black people gonna love or white people, you know. But I think in order for it to become more diverse, we're going to have to do the same thing that we have to do with playing churches. We're going to have to take it to people that wouldn't normally get it. So that's why I got what Mary said, what Erica said, rather. I got it. That's what I do. That's why you'll see me rock a show with Jeremy Camp, you know what I'm saying? And it's 20,000 white Christians, you know, and black. But then you'll see me do a show with Talib Kweli, you know what I'm saying? Pharaoh Mosh, Bun B, and it's all hood mugs. But this the thing, too, even inside of those environments, they're predominantly white, though. People don't know that.
Right.
Because like, white people, statistically...
They got money for the tickets.
They got money for the tickets, but statistically, white males... Now, that's... Wait, you might get some hate mail. But when I'm saying black people don't have money for the ticket, don't y'all take that in that term. but statistically, white males 18 to 34 are the biggest consumers of hip-hop music and always have been. Now, we know that don't count for the way that hip-hop gets to the community now or flows from the community with mixtapes, all of that different stuff. They don't count for that because you go to a Yo Gotti concert and it's club, it's hood.
Right.
2 Chainz, it's hood, it's club. Jeezy, like when you go to these type of shows, you see the predominance of urban African-American culture. But on paper, the biggest consumers of hip-hop are going to be 18 to 34 white males. But that's what Christian hip-hop is. But the reason Christian hip-hop is that it wasn't created on the separatist idea. It was the people that were supporting us when it was time to be supported. You know what I mean? But that's what it is now. And so that's why also, too, a lot of the artists, like, my thing that I want to encourage artists to do is make music that's true to yourself. A lot of artists are making music that they feel like is going to get them on the show. And that's the mindset that you want to have. You want to think about, like when I make records, I think about my core audience. My core audience is CHH. So I think about my core audience. I want to make records that'll speak to them. I want to make records that they can vibe to because these are my core audience and God has given them to me, for me to speak to. So I don't neglect that thought. I think about that too. But I also want to be true to my artistry and create music that can reach another group of people. I want to create music that'll reach the white dude that's in the hood, or the white dude that's in the suburbs, or the Asian dude that's in college, the Asian dude that's in the suburbs, the Hispanic, the Bosnian. I want to make music that'll reach everybody. And I think in CHH, there's a diversity that you'll see like no other. But the predominant crowd, we just have to be honest and admit what it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know what else I think contributed to just this whole, kind of situation and support? Like, I remember having a conversation with Mr. Dell one time because remember him and Canton used to be smashing like all these, youth conferences and, black youth groups and all that. And he said, yo, man, when the economy crashed in 2007, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, that wiped out a lot of places that used to support us and other people, you know, even cross movement to an extent, because like churches cut their youth budget, especially a lot of inner city churches, you know what I mean? Who was already on, you know, like shoestring budgets, man. So, you know, it's like all that what you said was dead on, because that is when the shift happened. And I think, you know, that was just another factor. We don't always think about even how the economy affects, you know, the church and church culture and, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah, but then too, like a lot of times churches don't take serious investment into the youth.
Right. Right.
They don't take it serious, and that's just not the inner city churches.
Yeah.
Like I had this church in the suburbs, like of St. Louis. I ain't gonna say no names, but I had this church in the suburbs of St. Louis. They got like two, 3 campuses.
Wow.
It's huge.
Wow.
They got bread. They got bread, bro. They got bread, right? So they hit me up, and they had somebody hit me up, and they was like, yo, we love what you're doing. We see what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, yo, we love this. And they were like, we want you to come out and talk to our youth. We have 3 days we want you to come do it, right?
Wow. 3.
We want you to come 3 days. Blah, blah, blah. They give me this whole spiel. And they like, all right, this is what we'll do. We can do $100 a day. Right?
$100 and a bucket of chicken, bro.
$100 a day. Now this is predominantly white suburban church. They got bread, right? And I'm like, okay, and so I just asked them, and the only reason I was talking to this person, I'm gonna give it's gonna be a nugget for life. So the only reason I was talking to this person personally is because I knew them personally.
Yeah.
And they weren't talking to my booking people, right? So I was like, I said, man, I gotta ask you, man, like, what's up with the $100? I'm like, and I told him, I said, man, look, I said, honestly, bro, I said, I'll take that. I said, but I said, I'll come. I said, you could have just asked me to come for free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted him to understand. And the reason I wanted him to understand it is, and I explained the same thing to him. I said, for me, it seems like you want to use my quote-unquote popularity, but you don't appreciate what God is actually doing. You know? You want to try to use my popularity, but you don't see the value in it.
That's real.
And the reason I said that is because they had just had this big gospel singer come, and I know what type of bread they asking for. You know what I'm saying? So now, at the same time, on that note, I don't want nobody to hear this and get it twisted. Like, I was the dude going out and doing shows, and it was a blessing for me. Like, two of the biggest supporters for me locally have been these two predominantly African American churches. And one of them, I remember going out and doing events for them early on. And I was going for nothing. Like, I was going for nothing. Like, yo, like, not knowing business. Like, yo, you trying to be humble. You know, I just come. And I remember the pastor saying, nah. And the pastor literally said, we just had so-and-so come out. And they asked for this. He said, there's no way we're going to give you this.
Wow.
Because what you did just invested just as much into our kids as what they did or more.
Wow.
So he was like, we're going to give you this just because we believe in what you do.
It's real.
You know what I'm saying? So this ain't, and everybody know me, I don't have to clarify that. Everybody know me, this ain't about money. But it's about respecting what a person do.
Sure.
You know, a lot of times the churches don't respect that and they don't want to invest into the youth. You got your every other thing is budgeted up they have 15, 10, 20,000. You got $20,000 for everything else, and it's like, all right, what we got for youth? We have $600 for the whole year.
Right.
Like, man, y'all go out and change the world. And it's like, no, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, all of that stuff did play a part into it, man. All of that stuff played a part into it.
Man, that's so real, bro. That is so real, dude. It's so real, man. You know, you kind of looking out over the scene right now, and I think I feel like, bro, like, just real talk, this past like 4 or 5 years in Christian rap scene, I think everybody's been trying to kind of like figure out how do we engage culture. Like, I think people felt like, man, we've just been doing this amongst ourselves in the church for so long, and now you're seeing,
and we still are. We still are. That's exactly what it is now.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think there's at least been a desire for people to say, man, how can I do this and really affect culture? And I mean, the reality is, like, there's not that many people who I think are really doing it well. And if we're honest with ourselves, I think most people would agree to that, man. Like, what do you think is that the next level of that, bro? Like,
man, what I honestly think it is, and what dudes need to do, is simple, but it's complex. Man, I'm gonna tell you what happened to CHH and where it is. Well, not where it is, but what happened. Because where it is has to be a whole nother interview. But what happened is, with the explosion of the internet and popularity, like with the explosion of the internet, how popular it is and how easy it is to just cut through to the internet.
Yep.
Like, dudes' focus turned into, man, I gotta be on the blog. I gotta, and I ain't talking about mainstream blogs. I'm talking just inside of Christian, inside of THH now. If my goal was like, the goal turned to, let me get on the internet, let me get popping, let me get on some shows, let me like that turned into the goal. Versus, even inside of hip hop, this same principle is what dudes use to affect culture. But that ain't their idea of why they're doing it. So the thing we need to do is simple, but it's complex. The rappers, CHH artists need to start putting energy into, and I wanted to say back into, but I ain't going to say back. They need to put energy into reaching their city first. Like, of every CHH dude that I know, like, bro, everybody in St. Louis don't know me, right? I'm not going to tell that lie. Everybody in St. Louis don't know me. That everybody here is not going to be like, yo, this. But the key people that need to know me, they know me. And they tell other people. People in the street. Like, for years, bro, like this thing, like, because of this false internet perception, and like, a lot of dudes probably don't even know how well I do, because in their brain, people base stuff off of what they see on the internet, you know? But I've been selling thousands of records for years. But every year when I put out a record, I make free CDs, bro, off of every album. And I go out and pass them out in the street. I put them in stores. You know, I run commercials in my city. I go and just make it my business to meet people. You know what I'm saying? If every CHH artist took the energy of reaching their city and their community first, their neighborhood, that's how you affect culture. Like, we think affecting culture is going straight to the top and being a mentor to 2 Chainz or Kendrick Lamar. But those dudes are affected by culture in the inner city.
Right.
Like, Kendrick is affected by Compton culture. So if we had a group of dudes in Compton affecting Compton culture, bro, it's eventually going to get to Kendrick.
Right.
If we had a group of dudes in Atlanta. Like, and we do, like, shout out to City Takers. Them dudes, they not playing.
They kill
Them
it.
my guys.
Yeah.
But of every artist that man, everybody live in Atlanta. Not just CHH, but Atlanta is like hip-hop Hollywood.
Yeah.
But if every artist that moved to Atlanta put some focus into reaching Atlanta, you'll see a different thing. It ain't gonna, like certain things are never gonna stop happening. But it's about, we talk about affecting culture. If we just started spread, if we did that from the cities that we were in and let that bubble up, the dudes that live in Ohio, if you did that in Ohio, I told a dude before, he said, man, where I live at, man, it's a small town. It's only 5,000 people. I said, oh, you should be the man now. It's only 5,000 people, but every last one of them will know I did music.
Yeah.
Every one of them. All I got to do is rub hands with 5,000 people. Give me a year, 2 years, 3, 4.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody in that town gonna be like, hey, when they mention rap music, they gonna be like, hey, so-and-so rap. You know what I'm saying? So if we spent that time focusing on, see, but that's not glorious, though. That ain't glorious because people don't see it on the internet. People don't see it, you know what I'm saying, on posts. That ain't glorious that 10,000 people know me in my city. You know what I'm saying? I need 10,000 people on the internet to know me. So that's the thing, bro. Like, that's what CHH needs to do. If we want to affect culture, because it's a difference. Like, if you, like, the dudes in hip-hop are affected by culture, and then they go and affect culture on the mass scale.
Mm.
But the stuff that these dudes are spewing out in hip-hop, it comes from a neighborhood. They in the studio with their little partners that's still active. They riding around with these dudes, getting that juice, feeling that energy. They going to the hood, making them trips there to feel the energy, to get the vibe, hear the lingo, to see the new dance move. All of this stuff flows from inner city neighborhood.
Right.
And then they take it to the rest of the world. If we want to affect hip-hop culture, we have to go plug into inner city neighborhood because that's where the culture's coming from. That's where it's flowing from.
That's good, bro. That's good.
When I started, bro, I've never, ever, I've never, my whole rap career can think of a time that I pursued a record deal, right? Like, people have been pursuing me, like, several occasions, you know, recent and before.
Yep.
But when I started sitting down, right, and having actual meetings with lawyers, the first thing they said was, most of these people are going to come and call radio people in your city and ask them, do they know you?
Do they know you? Yep.
Because if the radio people in your city don't know you, in their brain, you're not popping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, it's the same mindset. You know, I remember years before I actually officially met, you know, or talked to Scarface, or we did this song. I met his team of people when I was a non-Christian. And the dude still travel with him now. This dude actually hooked me up with him later on in life. But we didn't know that. But I met these dudes before I was a Christian. And OG sat me down. He heard me rapping. And he said, let me give you some advice. He said, this is what you do. He said, first, you lock down your neighborhood. He said, then you lock down your side of town.
Mm.
He said, then you lock down your city. He said, if you get your city riding with you, the rest of the world with you.
Wow.
But that's the concept. Like, if we want to affect culture, we don't immediately go and try to affect the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let me get on bars. Let me go to the internet. I'm trying to change the world. No. In most cases, the underlying cause of that is I want to be popular. But if we want to change the world and we want to change culture, it starts with one area of town, and there's enough of. That's why we're all spread it out. That's why it's a bunch of us. That's why we're all in different cities. That's why you got dudes in Chicago. You got dudes in, Milwaukee. You got, and we all of us had the same crack, man. My city, when it comes to, I have that crowd. When it comes to music, St. Louis is horrible. Like, we have one radio station. There ain't nobody here that want to work. All of us had the same crack. But at the end of the day, if we in that city doing what we supposed to do, we change the culture. So CHH want to change culture. Like, the goal isn't to go befriend popular rappers and mentor and disciple them. If that happens, amen, God bless it. That shouldn't be the goal, though. That shouldn't be the starting goal. If we want to affect culture, somebody's going to have to be, we're going to need people to do both. But everybody's mindset should start out as, let me affect the people around me if this is how we're going to affect culture. You know what I'm saying? We got to. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Man, Thi'sl,
that's the only way it's going to work, bro.
I love it, bro. That's
like,
so
I should
real.
come there. I should come to Atlanta and hear dudes' names.
Yeah.
I should go to Milwaukee and hear dudes' names. I should go to, if you live in a small town where it's 4,000-5,000 people, man, the reality is I should be able to come there and everybody there know you.
Everybody.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody. So that's the goal. We want to affect culture. Get out there, man, and go do some of these open poetry open nights. Go do some open. And I'm going to tell you, I want to address something with CHH, bro. There's this false sense of entitlement that reigns in CHH and over a lot of it. And that false, like when I say false sense of entitlement, dog, you have a new artist straight out the gate. That boy talking about, man, I want $3,000 to come out. I need to bring out my manager. And you come to a city, and you can go to a city, and he can't even bring out 500 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, 500 people not going to come see you. You want me to give you $3,000. You want me to bring your manager, plane tickets, all of this stuff. Like, there's this false sense of entitlement that makes dudes feel like, oh, if I'm not doing this, I'm not doing nothing. And a lot of times that mess with dudes psychologically, and they shut down from doing anything, right?
Yep.
So because dudes can't get on a big show with Lecrae or Andy, if they're not doing shows with Andy, Lecrae, Flame, Jason, me, or whoever else, they don't feel like they're doing nothing. Dog, you want to do a show? Ain't nobody booking you. Nobody's bringing you out for nothing. Man, look around your city.
Right.
Go get on some of these open mic nights.
Yep.
Go get on some, like you do poetry, go get on some of these poetry events. Get you a squad of dudes together, or dudes and girls, or whoever you riding with, and start hitting these events up and shutting them down. That's the mindset. Like, get out and do some of that stuff.
Man,
that's
what the Dream Junkies did, bro. That's why they popping right now.
That's how you affect culture, bro.
Yeah.
That's why they own Rock the Bells. That's why they own Songs with Murs.
Yep.
That's why they could do a show in their city and bring out 500, 600, 700 people.
Yep.
That's how you affect culture, bro. And the thing that artists in any genre, any space have to be content with is be content with strides, man. Like, everything don't happen overnight, bro. Right. Everything don't happen overnight.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And stop being, like, man, especially for the new dudes, like, I posted this on Twitter the other day, man. Don't let these people gas you up with all that you next and you finna blow. Man, I done heard dudes say that so many people and they sitting at the crib not even rapping no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, just keep your head low, stay humble, and work hard, man. Practice on your craft, work hard, understand who it is you're trying to talk to, and go talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, bro. That's good, man. Thi'sl, man, against all odds, Get the book.
Book and CD in stores right now. Go get it. Listen, let me tell y'all something. If you listening to this right now and you in jail, I want you to hit your people up and tell them to go on Amazon and order you this book, Against All Odds, by this dude named Travis Thi'sl Tyler. Against All Odds. If you listen to this and you got a family member that's in jail, I want you to go to Amazon because that's the only way that they can receive books. Go to Amazon and order this book and send it to your folks in jail. I thought about people in jail specifically when we did this. That's why we made it paperback so they can get it a certain way. All of that, right? Like, that's what I need y'all to do. If you got a family member that they not in jail, but they looking at going down the wrong path or they on that route, headed that way, then get this book, give it to them. If you just a person never been in the streets before in your life, man, get the book and read it. Man, we did test runs with it. We did a book tour before it came out. All kind of people have bought it, different walks of life, and everybody's loving it. But we made this book to reach people. One of the three things we talked about in this book, man, before we get off, is the final chapter ends with three things. One, you were created by God. Because coming out of that life that I was living, and a lot of us live, even when you're not in the streets, we tend to think that we are a mistake. I thought many days, man, I'm a mistake. Why was I even born? My daddy don't want me. Coming from these fatherless homes, like my life is a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I? I don't even have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I here for? We dealt with that. God created you. You know what I'm saying? We deal with it. We use scripture to deal with it. The second thing we dealt with is that you were created in God's image. And that was another thing that helped me deal with worth, feeling worthless, like feeling like, like you have no value because of all of the other stuff I just named that did something else. We use scripture to deal with that. The last thing that we talked about in the chapter was God saving us unto good works. Because when I got saved and came out the streets, I was so hard on myself. Like, I had done so much wrong when I came out the streets, when I walked out that jail cell. Even though I knew I didn't do that crime, I had done so much wrong in my life that I felt like God would never allow me to enjoy the good things of the world. I felt like my existence would be me sitting back watching these people have families and this wonderful life, and I would be punished. I'm like, God, I get to go to heaven. I'm not going to enjoy peace on earth. I couldn't because I didn't understand God, But then the more I read the scriptures, I saw that God had saved me unto good works. Before I was even born, God laid out, before you were even born, God laid out good works for you when you come to know who Jesus is. And that helped me big time. And we wrote this book because we wanted to help people, not just to share an amazing story, but a story of redemption that people could see themselves in and that they could see themselves hopefully in Christ. And that's the reason that we wrote this book, man. And it was so bad for me, I didn't even want to sit down in church when I first became a Christian.
Wow.
I didn't even want to sit.
You ain't think you was worthy, huh?
I didn't feel like I was worthy of a seat in the house of the Lord, man. I didn't even want to sit down. I used to stand up in the back of the church every Sunday. And
they thought you was one of the ushers.
I probably did, bro. Every Sunday.
Man.
But, man, we wrote the book to share that stuff with people, and we want people to get it, man, and be encouraged. And that's it.
Man, Thi'sl, man, you always drop so many nuggets in these interviews, dog. Like, man, bro, like, dude, them last 3 minutes was just powerful, bro. Man, I love you, bro.
Hey,
Real talk.
You always pull it out, man. You always put it out.
Hey, man, I just let you talk, bro. You just got it in you, dog. That's what it is, bro.
Those are the best interviews. People don't understand that, though. When you look at the best interviews that dudes have on the internet or wherever it is,
yeah,
the interviewer throw out a question and let the person go.
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
Man, it's love, brother. Man, listen, one more time, y'all support what Thi'sl's doing, man. Y'all, you know, this brother's been putting in work for a long time, and I think both of these projects, man, is something that'll really, you know, man, just minister to people, man. His story is incredible. I mean, he told y'all the story, but you know, there's more detail that you need to peep. So,
man, when you read this book, everybody that's read it, they're saying this. And I say this in the opening part. Everybody that's reading it is saying, man, how could one person go through so much stuff?
wow.
Like, just go read it, man.
Wow.
Go read it, get the book. Like, I just skimmed over the top, man. Like, and we cut the book from 80,000 words to 50,000.
Wow.
You know? So it's like, it's a testimony of how God can change a person no matter how much they've done or how much has been done to them. Like, I should be a hateful, evil person, bro. But I'm not, by the grace of God.
By God's grace. Powerful, man. Thi'sl, man, love you, brother.
Love you too, bro.
On the Wade Radio Show. On the Wade Radio. On the Wade Radio Show. Where it's much more than music, it's ministry.